Hey people of the interwebs, it is Q with another scuba diving adventure. It is 7:40. I'm already down at Caloundra and I'm just doing a quick coast run to have a look at what the conditions are like at the various dive sites we use before I head into Wildcat Dive Shop. One of two things is going to happen today. You can see up in the top left hand corner I've got the kayak on the top of the car. If there are no customers coming in this morning, then it'll just be the usual kayak gang heading out for a kayak dive to a brand new dive site. If of course we do have customers who want to come in and do shore dives, then we will revert to a shore dive scenario. I guess we'll find out which scenario it's going to be once we get to the dive shop. Well, are you going kayaking, are you? Are you going kayaking?
I don't know.
Sounds like a plan.
I don't know. You still like being figure it out. I don't know. What are you doing?
That's it, we're going kayaking. Yeah, scenario one.
Come on. Are you up for that, Lynn?
Yeah. So it actually ended up with scenario 3 because you can never actually plan exactly how it's going to go from my perspective. But we ended up not doing a kayak because we had Greg turn up. Greg used to work at Wildcat Dive many years ago. He now lives down in Sydney. He's popped up for the day and said, hey, let's go out diving. So we're doing a shore dive. We did take a look at Bell Street, but unfortunately the water conditions down there were quite milky, so we decided not to try that particular site. We have ended up back at Kings Beach boat ramp, where the water from the surface looks half decent. It's not as windy as the forecast said it was going to be, so the surface conditions are quite good. However, we're still going to be unsure of what the visibility will actually be like when we hit the deck. As we dropped down into the water, conditions weren't fabulous, but at least there was no silt layer at the bottom. We dropped into 4.7 meters of water, which is 15.5 feet. And as I had a look around and checked my buddy, I noticed that his ocky was leaking air. So I grabbed his attention and pointed it out to him, because if left unchecked, this could have led to an out of air situation later on in the dive. He fixed it up and I watched to make sure that it was all good when he put it all back and gave him the OK signal. Dive lead gave us the heading, which was 120. And of course, our ever faithful fishy friends, the Goatfish Patrol, accompanied us on the dive from the very outset until the very end. I sometimes think that maybe they're checking up on us to make sure we're not damaging the environment or upsetting the fishes. First thing I spotted was this little ray. He was about the size of my outstretched hand, but still, it's got a barb in its tail, so you don't want to mess around with it, because that barb is a little bit toxic. Quite a few nudibrachs on the dive today. They're beautiful to look at, but extremely toxic. And also very specialized. Each different one can't mate with the other types. Only its own sort of like shape and color can mate with each one. They have a very specialized diet, and so you'll only find them in one particular place. A very difficult creature to keep in the home marine aquaria, for example. We also spotted this cowrie shell. Basically, it's a marine snail. And unlike its deadly cousin, the cone shell snail, this one is quite user-friendly. Although we didn't touch it because there's a little snail living inside and he was probably having a snooze. About halfway through the dive, I came across this anchor with a rope leading up to the surface. I tugged on the rope and no boat followed it down, so it was obviously some fisherman had just cut loose because he couldn't free his anchor. Anyway, we picked it up and took it home because we don't like to see litter left hanging around in the marine environment. Lots and lots of painted crays on this particular dive. This guy was huge. He could have easily fed a family of 4. And one of the things that the painted crays do is they back themselves underneath these ledges. But of course, sometimes, not being too smart of a creature, they get into a ledge that's not quite big enough for them, and so as we approach, they want to back themselves further into the crevice, but sometimes it's just not possible. This guy got particularly upset at my shoving a camera in his face, and as he couldn't back in any further, he decided to dash out and dash off. I'm not sure what my dive companion thought about that when it raced past him. Wonderful creatures, fantastic colours, and unlike their cousin the lobster, the painted crays don't have any claws on the front. They just have these huge tentacles that they use to sense the environment. Ever the master of camouflage, the wobbegong shark. This little fella was probably about the length of my forearm, but I happened upon it quite by accident simply because it was so well camouflaged. Those 2 little white dots on the head there, they are not the eyes. The eyes are the raised up little bumps in front of those white dots. In fact, I'm not actually sure what those 2 white dots are, so if anybody does know, please leave a comment down below and enlighten me. 53 minutes later, we came to our exit point, which was King's Beach boat ramp. Maximum depth we reached was 7.5 meters, which was 24.5 feet. The visibility was 4 meters, which is roughly 13 feet. Water temperature was 18 degrees centigrade, which is 64.5 Fahrenheit. If you've enjoyed today's diving adventure with Q, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you've got any comments, leave them down below, and as soon as I see them, I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.